let me at the outset express my very grateful thanks to Bridge India Foundation, which is such a dynamic organization which has blossomed over recent years and done so much for the underprivileged, the marginalized, the poor in our country. As has rightly been said in the introduction, it fell to my lot to be part of the initiative that pioneered the CSR law in India. And by and large, the whole concept of corporate social responsibility is precisely this. How can corporate India, profit-making corporate India, serve the marginalized, the destitute, the poor, and the voiceless? At the heart of all that is needed to be done in corporate social responsibility is exactly that. We have before us, I think, as the theme, the convergence of economy and the environment. And those of you who are knowledgeable about CSR would know that Schedule 7, which identifies the activities which you can pursue while undertaking your CSR activities, is based primarily on the MDGs, because that's all we had. So we looked around the world map and we adapted and adopted those MDGs to suit Indian conditions. And it is quite remarkable that Schedule 7 itself has undergone very little change from the time that we first drafted it way back in 2012. There have been about 3 or 4 additions, and that's pretty much it. Section 135 by itself, now that 10 years have passed, not one word has changed. Nobody has even asked for it to be changed. What has happened, though, is that the rules have been updated from time to time to ensure that all the lessons we have learned in 10 years of implementation are actually now brought into the ambit of the rules. There were about 10,000 companies, today about 18,000 companies. When we began, the annual expenditure was around about 12,000 crores. Last figures from the MCA told us that it's around 27,000 crores. I have been speaking to my counterparts there. The figures for 23-24 will be around 36,000 crores. And therefore, what you see is an exponential growth in the CSR spending. But again, that's not the focus. What I wanted to say more so than any of that is the very seamless connection between CSR and ESG, between environment, social, and governance, and CSR. CSR has had the adaptive or adoptive quality of mixing, matching, synchronizing with the entire work of ESG that has grown very strongly these last 4 or 5 years. And as an illustration, you would see that for the figures that we have, end of March 22, the proportion of projects connected with the environment were around 5 to 6%. Now for 22-23 and the coming figures of 23-24, it has grown to about 14-15%. In short, corporate India is also realizing that the commitment to the planet and to the environment cannot be just about voicing opinions and using talk shops to propagate what you think. You need to put your money where your mouth is. And increasingly, corporate India is doing that. It increases their brand value, it shows their commitment not just to people but also to the planet. And in the synchronization of CSR and ESG, in the understanding that the whole initiative on CSR we can connect to the environment is, I think, the trend of the future. But I would say that it augurs well for the future, that India is equipped with two tools. One indigenous, completely made in India, for India, by India, which is our very own CSR, and ESG, which is an internationally adopted tool. Whereas we have a mandated ecosystem for CSR, gradually ESG, or I would say reporting, ESG reporting is also getting mandated. Today, SEBI has made it mandatory for the top 1,000 corporates to submit their ESG reports. And from the next year, you cannot submit just any report that you want. There has to be an assurance provider who assures the report before you can submit it to SEBI. So on both sides, we see a certain level of mandation which helps the cause and allow corporates to take their individual initiatives forward. With these few words, and thanking you once again for giving us the opportunity to be here today, all the very best for what's about to unfold. Thank you.